All right, good evening, good afternoon, whatever may be the case. Again, this is Cecil Young coming to you live and in color from Soundview Media. And again, I wanted to ask you all to tune into the show as you've been doing for the last year or so. But again, it's all been about this here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to be playing part of some of the shows that I've done in the past. And what I will be doing is identifying with some of the names of the people that were involved in the cover-up specifically, so you will know what I'm talking about. Yes, it's going to be kind of the same thing that I've shown you in the past, but I'm going to be identifying with the voices of those of them that really were involved in the cover-up. And I'm going to be sending out a letter to the U.S. Attorney's Office, as well as to the State's Attorney's Office, and the Attorney General's Office, and the Governor's Office, okay, requesting that they remove these commissioners from the Board of Labor, Gerald Wayne and Mike Cohad and Albert Murphy. I'm asking that they all be removed because of what they did involved in this cover-up. And I'm also asking that they be instructed to pay back what they took from the state of Connecticut, as well as from the city of Bridgeport, in terms of getting paid for unnecessary hearings. Because all this was about contaminated dirt piles. As you see here, I have a picture here with State Rep Newton at the time, who was from the East End, but he came on the East Side to highlight these piles with me, okay? And again, that's why I asked Councilman Newton to show up, because at that time I had no contact with the East Side residents, councilperson, so I called him to make some complaint about these contaminated dirt piles next to a hall neighborhood house where kids were playing on top of. What I'm going to do is I'm going to be playing different excerpts of the show, highlighting those of them that were involved in the cover-up and what they said. So if you can bear with me, please, because it's going to be a little shaky. Now what I'm going to do is play Dr. Evans, a little bit of her first as well, showing why she said what she said, okay, and why she said what she said. And I'm going to also show you that I was at work, all of the above. Now listen to this tape if you could. It's going to be a little stagnated from the tape because it's a personal pause tape. On the phone with someone else now. Before she up the phone, you will hear me ask her a question. You will hear me ask Dr. Evans a question about whether or not she accepted me back to work on that date. All right, now that was Dr. Evans confirming the fact that she acknowledged on March 16, 2006, she accepted me back to work. Now this is Gerald Wayne, the chairman of the State Labor Board. Now, did you hear him say Murphy said I was not terminated? This is what Gerald Wayne just said. Now listen to Mr. Mike Cohead. He was one of the termination board members. I'm going to get this one here down. No, this one here. Now, this is what's so sad about that. Now, this was Jody Paul who basically said, okay, that I was terminated for not coming to work. Yet and still you hear her voice clearly said, yes, you came to work, but you left an hour and a half later. I mean, this is why it really irritates me to knowing that the State Labor Board commissioners would be involved in such a cover-up. And this is why I'm requesting that the U.S. Attorney's Office, okay, the State's Attorney's Office, and the Attorney General take some kind of action in terms of looking into these allegations, because I have it in black and white, what they said, okay, in writing. I also have it on audio tape. This again is Jody Paul from Labor Relations. You'll hear her now try to justify what she did to me. And I will play other parts of other members that were involved in the cover-up. Now you can focus on this one. I will play what the agreement was supposed to have been made that we never agreed to. what I took off her desk. What I took off her desk. What I took off her desk was papers that they wanted me to sign that I would not sign. That's what I took off her desk. He called these straps of paper. Allegedly now, 14 years later, are the same two people who denied it are the same two now who are named on the documentation as the one who approved it, which is a shame and a disgrace because, again, yes, they should have resolved that problem back in 2006. Gerald Wayne and Mike Cohead, as I said before, along with Albert Murphy, violated my civil rights. They committed fraud and all the above. And I say this to the governor, I say this to the powers to be, and no one should be above the law. They apparently think that they have been because of the position that they've been in for so long and the influence that they have over people throughout the state. I guess they felt like some kind of a guide, okay, to many of those who would go up against them. And you will see the information that I will bring you forward and will show you, as well as I will play for you, with the information confirming the fact that I was right all along, pertaining to my unjust termination as well. I will play documentations, give you documentation. I would also play audios of Dr. Evans and Jody Paul, confirming the fact that I was at work at the health department in 2006, even though they allegedly said I wasn't at work, that I voluntarily resigned. They sent me with a number of different things, which I will show you by playing the audio tape of what I recorded from them, unbeknown to them, where they confirmed the fact that I was at work. Nevertheless, I ended up losing my job, and I hear this for 19 years later. I'm still out of a job with the city of Bridgeport, and I'm saying that back then I would not let it go then, and I'm not going to let it go now. Now, what I'm going to do is have my assistant read off the reflections of the agreement that was made, that they didn't honor.
Yes. This agreement is in reference to your dental portion of your group plan. It's the City of Bridgeport and NAGE and grievant Cecil Young. Whereas the parties hereby agreed to the following, and this was dated October 10th, 2007.
Now you see here, Gerald Wayne got $850 for a hearing he should have never had. Mike Cohead got $575 he should have never had. These were medical hearings that they got paid for. They should have never happened because they got paid for termination, and if the termination was justifiable, they should have never stopped my benefits.
19.1 and 19.2 shall continue to be provided for terminated employees who have filed a timely grievance of such termination under this agreement until a final decision on such grievance is arbitration or 6 months from the date of termination, whichever is sooner.
Now, did you hear that? Termination. Terminated employees have a right to these benefits.
This is number 3.
I was terminated.
Termination would have expired on September 20th, 2006. Number 4.
A termination.
On April 7th, 2006,
Jody Paul
Mr. Young submitted
was fully aware of this. Labor relations, she was fully aware of this. But yet still they terminated me for not coming to work when you see the evidence.
Provided for under section 19.1 of the contract, excluding the Cigna dental plan benefit under 19.1C. Number 5. the 6 months period of 3/20 to 9/20/2006, there were several claims submitted to Cigna Dental from Fairfield Dental Home, Adrena Tarina, DMD, on behalf of Mr. Cecil Young and his dependents. These claims were denied by Cigna because Mr. Young was no longer covered under the city's group plan. Now, therefore, number 6, the city will activate coverage for Mr. Young on the Cigna dental plan for the 6-month period as mentioned above. 7, as a result, Cigna Dental will cover the city's portion of the claims that would have been paid if Mr. Young were kept on the city's group dental plan. Number 8, under the city's group plan, there is an out-of-pocket expense for employees since Cigna does not cover 100% of the cost for dental claims. 9, therefore, any outstanding balance after Cigna pays its portion of such claims would be the responsibility of Mr. Young.
Which
And
is very
lastly,
understandable.
the city would also authorize Cigna Dental to cover its portion of any claims.
And you see what's so sad about this? This dental plan should have never been stopped. It was supposed to have been in effect from 2006 until they had that hearing, which should have been anywhere from 6 weeks to 6 months. Either or, they should have had that deadline. I waited 2 years, 2.5 years or more before they decided to rule in my favor, and they never did. I had to go before another board member, which were 7 other board members, who told them basically to rule in my favor, and yet and still, Gerald Wayner and Mike Coe signed off on it as if though they didn't know anything about it all along. But yet and still, they got paid, as I said before, by committing fraud. You seen me show up there on the bulletin board where Mike Coe got $575, and you seen me show on the board that Gerald Wayner also got $850, okay? All right? That's why I said they committed fraud. Gerald Wayner, all right, he had no business having this hearing, which caused him to get $850. Mike Coe had no reason to get $575. These were medical hearings. These were issues about did the city or did the state have the right to continue his medical benefits? Yes, they did, because I was terminated. Terminated employees have a right to continue their medical benefits as long as they were terminated. Now, Mike Coe, you see his name here and you see it here. How could he be aware of the fact that he knew I was terminated because he was a part of the termination board? Yet and still, he got paid over here, allowing it to drag on for at least 4 or 5 other hearings, and got paid for those hearings discussing the fact of whether or not I was justifiable in receiving these benefits, where it clearly shows that I was justifiable when I showed you that it said terminated employees have a right to continue their medical benefits as long as they file a grievance. I filed a grievance. Shame on the city of Bridgeport and the state of Connecticut. So I'm hoping that they be made to pay this back. And what is even more sad about it, okay, is that Gerald Wayner, all right, Mike Coe had been on this board for over 20 years. Gerald Wayner, chairman of the labor board. Mike Coe had been on this board for 19, 20 years. I mean, they both were fully aware of what they did to me. They violated my civil rights, and I feel sorry for Mr. Wayner because at one point in time when he first started the hearing, he wanted to get out of it because he claimed he knew me. Yes, he knew of me by seeing me down at the courthouse where he would show up oftentimes with clients because I was down there helping folks get out of jail, community folks, and so on. They got into trouble, and I was working with the bail bondsman. So I meet him by seeing him, but I never really met him. But he wanted to step out of the case, and I'm sorry that I didn't let him step out of the case because, again, I hate to have to hurt this man because apparently he tried to get away from this fight. But it was sad that he took it on anyway and then had the audacity to rule against me knowing that they had no right to do that. They knew that. And then with that insult to injury, I hired attorney John Williams, as you see here, several emails confirming the fact that I should have been able to continue my medical benefits. Okay, all right, it shows here that he was never involved in this, my attorney John Williams. He just got paid and I got played. And I'm saying shame on him. After contacting this man at least, 12 different times, pleading with him to show up in court. I pleaded with attorney John Williams. I gave him $10,000 to represent me, and he claimed he would represent me as he represented himself. You see here This man did not represent me properly. He never showed up in court, not one time. I gave him $5,000 the first time, which he went before Judge Richards in Superior Court on Main Street, okay? And he said, okay, it's a waste of your money, a waste of your time by pursuing this matter. And I said, why would it be a waste of time? I came to work. Why would it be a waste of time when they took away my medical benefits? As you see, I won my medical benefits. I did, not John Williams. He never reported anything pertaining to my medical benefits, so he never truly planned on representing me. He feared Albert Murphy. He feared Gerald Weiner, and that's why he threw the towel in on me. And that's why I said, shame on these elected and appointed officials. They're not going to get away with this. I'm not going to let this go. I can't let it go, okay? And here it is again. Like I said, I pleaded with my attorney, John Williams. I pleaded with him, John Williams. If you don't show up in court, they're going to throw it out of court, okay? It made it clear, all right, that I wanted a copy of this information. Send me a copy so I would be up to date on what was going on. He never would send me a copy of it. He would tell me, don't worry, Cecil, I will defend you in court myself personally. I kept saying, John, it's on the website that you're not complying. Would you please comply? He did not comply. So I'm saying, I need an attorney. Yes, you can go to YouTube and get a whole hour of this whole show, which will outline all of the above, what they did to me. And that's why they said to me, for 3 years, I have not been able to speak at City Hall. Why? Because I said I was tired of being treated like the N-word. Why did I say that? Because I was tired of being treated like that. What would you say if they did this to you? I'm not a rich man. I'm a poor man. But I paid this attorney, John Williams, $10,000 to represent me. $10,000 to represent me, as he said he would. He did not. Yet and still, you got labor board persons, you got people from city officials confirming the fact that I was at work, okay, and that I should have got paid, not played. Listen to it.
Okay, and that's what troubles me. Can you believe that after all them years of all that time I've been complaining about the fact that the city knew good and well that they violated my rights by denying me my medical benefits, okay, knowing that I was in the union and that the union has an agreement with the city whereby any employee who gets terminated has the right to continue their benefits as long as they file a grievance, which I did the day after that. And it troubles me that here it is, the award was made by what, by Joe Weiner, Mike Cohat, okay. These are the two people that were involved in it, again, denying me my medical benefits for these many years. And to this day, I still haven't got fully my benefits honored by the city because they still haven't complied to the degree that they should have in the beginning. And again, thank God for this award that was given to me on my behalf, was given because I went before about 12 or 14 commissioners, okay, up in Weathersfield. And we met with me and my wife at the time, Patricia Nichols, who became Cecil Young. Okay, we went to a hearing where these folks that I met with apparently told Mike Cohat, Joe Weiner, to honor my medical benefits. As you see here, this is 2008. My benefits should have been continued on, okay, during that 6-month period at the time I got terminated, that 2006. But as you see, based on them, they allowed it to drag on. Why did they allow it to drag on? Because they got paid. They committed fraud. That's why they allowed it to go on. And that's why I said to myself, and I said to the public, this has to stop. No one should be allowed to do what they did to me and get away with it. And that's why I say to you, look at this in black and white. Okay, you see Gerald Weiner, chairman of the labor board, okay, Mike Cohat, okay, likewise, okay, managing of the labor board. These people were involved with the medical part as well as Gerald Weiner was involved in the medical part. He made $850 pertaining to my medical benefits. How many hearings did he have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 hearings he had pertaining to my medical benefits. Gerald Weiner, chairman of the labor board, been there for almost 19 years. He was the chairman for almost 19 years. Can you believe that? That's why people are so afraid of him. Mike Cohat, likewise, been there almost 19 years. Okay, again, if they defrauded the government behind me, can you imagine how many others who've been defrauded by these two? All right, and I have evidence of that. Okay, Mike Cohat and Gerald Weiner knew good and well that terminated employees had a right to continue their benefits. Okay, yet and still they told the labor board, okay, all right, that they didn't have to do it apparently. Okay, they didn't honor it. Even to this day, the city did not honor the labor board's request. And I'm saying again, this has to be stopped. And that's why again I say to you, there's no way in the world why I was denied my medical benefits, okay? And should have been treated the way I was treated. As I said before, they denied my doctor's note. The labor board, new labor board commissioner Albert Murphy called my doctor's note literally straps the paper. Literally straps the paper. How do you fax over a documentation, so-called straps of paper, to the health department from my doctor's office to the health director's office? How do you fax it over to them based on straps of paper? You cannot do that. But yet and still the labor board gave the impression that there were straps of paper. That was never the case. Okay? They also gave the impression that I was terminated. Terminated. What did they say I was terminated for? For not returning work. Do you have that? They said I was terminated because I had not come to work as of March 6, 2016, which was a lie. You see here in black and white a time card showing that I was at work on 2006. Okay, and indicated that I would be going for a colon exam on March 17, 2006. Okay, Dr. Evans' assistant, Etha, took the note indicating that I would be getting married on that same day, March 16, 2016. That I would be getting married at 12 o'clock. And that I'll be leaving around 11 or 10:30, which you can see on the note that she left for Dr. Evans, indicating that Cecil Young would be leaving at 10:30 or 11 o'clock to go get flowers because he planned on getting married. They knew all that, and yet and still they act like they didn't know anything about that. Yes. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to play an audio tape of Dr. Evans, okay, all right, talking about, I made you sick again. Okay, you will hear also Dr. Evans say likewise, okay, to her, Ethan, my supervisor, okay, acknowledging the fact that I'm back at work on this day on March 16th. You will hear her confirm that on March 16th, yes, Cecil was saying to her, he's at work. I will likewise show you information along with that as I play the tape of Dr. Evans and all the above. Okay? Now I'm going to play Dr. Evans' tape, the audio tape of Dr. Evans. You will hear her in her own voice say that Cecil Young, she's acknowledging and accepting me back to work on that date, on March 16, 2006. And you will also hear Jody Paul likewise several times confirm the fact that she acknowledging the fact that I was at work on that date. Okay, you will hear her even say, yeah, you came in, but you left an hour and a half later. I want you to look at this document and to be able to see exactly what I'm saying, because everything that I'm saying to you is not on this document, but I reflected on some of the stuff that was recorded. But everything that you do hear from this recording is what was said in these documentations here that I'm about ready to play for you. Now I'm going to play the tape, which we will hear Dr. Evans say, oh, I made you sick again. Okay, but nevertheless, let's hear what she has to say as well. Finish up the rest. On the other mic. Now, when she gets off the phone, you'll hear a lot much more clear. I played part of that earlier, but just in case you didn't clear that, you can hear this more clear.
Now you heard Dr. Evans. You heard Dr. Evans confirm the fact that I was at work. She accepted me back at work on that date, and that's why the issue is. Can you the mic's on? That is why the issue is. How could she sit there and write and put in writing that I was terminated for not showing up at work when that was not the case? You just heard her own voice. You heard Jody Paul's voice indicate that I was at work. How could these people be allowed to get away with lying on me like that and get away with it? There's no sense to that. And that is why I'm asking for the public to listen to this, what is being said. Here's what's so sad about this. Here's what's so sad about this is that for Dr. Evans, Jody Paul, for them to sit up here on this tape recorder and to hear their voices literally say in loud and clear in their own voices that I was at work, even though you had a letter showing that I was terminated for not coming to work. That is why I said it's a shame and a disgrace that I can be treated the way I've been treated. You have over here where the State Labor Board Commissioners lied on me, called these papers, my doctor's notes, literally strips of paper. This look like straps of paper. These are doctor's notes that was given to them in 2006 asking for me to have a medical leave request time off from work. They would not allow that to happen. Instead, they tried to cover it up. And the reason why they covered it up, because they committed fraud. Albert Murphy, Gerald Wayne violated my civil rights. Look at here, Albert Murphy gave the impression that my doctor was never treating me for the problems that I so-called claimed. It's evidence in black and white. Dr. Walters made it very clearly. He had been treating me for several years now, okay, and felt like the need to treat me further the way he was treating me was not getting to me the way he should have been getting to me. So he referred me to Dr. Wayne, a clinical psychiatrist, okay? What would you do after being terminated from your job, knowing on that same day you got married on March 6, 2016, knowing on that same day you got married before Judge Paul Ganem, a judge, Demir's brother, Paul Ganem, okay, who you would think that automatically, seeing that this was a judge, that I got married at 12 o'clock because I left my job at 12 o'clock to get married, all right? You would think they would have some kind of sensitivity. Why would they come down on me so hard? Why? Because I dared enough to care. I dared enough to want to practice what I preach instead of what I teach, which is to show that these kids could have came down with cancer, could have came down with a kind of disease that could have caused them, the whole family to be wiped out, could have caused neighborhoods to be wiped out, and to have two council persons from the east side, east end, okay, not say anything about this. The council president is from that east side, okay, the council member also likewise from that east side. They sit on the council and look at me like I'm a foreigner. I'm speaking about issues that affect our people in our community. You hear me talk about putting more police in public housing projects. You hear me talk about housing 30 woes. What housing 30 woes am I talking about? Raw sewage running into the basement, running into people's houses, huh? Those are the issues I talk about. I talk about issues that affect people, our community, all right? And that's why I say to you, shame on you. Look at this, human waste, all right? This is human waste in P.T. Barnum Housing Authority project that's been allowed when they go to unclog somebody's sink, tub, they allow it to go in the household trash cans. There's no roller skate wheels up under this trash can that will roller skate that trash, that human waste, and whatever else in that bathtub or that toilet, all right, to a location where it'll be safely removed and gotten rid of. No, they're going to tip it over and it'll flow into the ground, head towards that little drain that they thought that would dry it up. And what won't be dried up, driven through that drain, will dry up and it will look like a desert. I used to wonder when I used to go down into the basement, where did all this dust come from? Where did all this sand look like you're in a desert where the sand dirt has been there so long where it looked like it's cracked up all over the place? And I come to find out that was part of how they unclogged the toilets. That is old toilet mildew that's been dried up and left there in the basement. And you see these housing authority guys washing off their boots. It was sunny that day. Washing off their boots. What was they washing off? Human waste. So I lose my job because I dared enough to care about these people and the living conditions that they were living in. Look at their household sink. This is a sink. The sewage backs up into their house so bad to a point where the next door neighbor will get this kind of stuff come up in their sink. Their units are connected. And when the sewage backs up in one location, it affects all of those units. You got 12 units in different buildings. You got 21 buildings, okay, with 12 tenants on both sides. And when a Kotex or when hair or something clogged up those sinks, these are the end results. And then what does it do then? It goes to the recycling plant. Those sewage that do get set out and go to the sewage plant go to the recycling sewage plant. And it turns into so-called PB clean water. This is water that I took out of my sink at the house one day, thinking that it was clear water that I was going to make me some coffee with. Look at the suds in there. That was not properly treated that day. I didn't know that. You probably don't know that. When you run your water and get ready to make something, let it run for a while because you never know what you're going to be drawing into that pot that you're going to be boiling along with whatever else you're cooking. Look at these mouse droppers in this lady's house. These are mouse droppers on her dresser drawer, inside her drawer house, in her house. In P.T. Barnum. This should not have to happen, but it happened because those mice get diarrhea at the lips and at the mouth and at the butt, and they drop off and they drip off wherever they end up landing. And I'm saying it's a shame and a disgrace, okay, that I have to get my council persons, Ernest Newton and Anita Martinez, to come here to say, hey, look here, look to see if whether or not the city was justifiable in terminating Mr. Young. That's all they asked them to do. They asked them to turn over the documentation. Why won't they do that? Huh? They could do that. There's nothing harm in doing that. Being fair, being impartial. That's what they asked them to do. Huh? They were elected officials. I've been speaking out about issues all my life pertaining to our people in our community. And all I'm saying is that the state auditors did their findings. They did their findings, and their findings show, all right, that I was terminated, okay? And the question is, did the state auditors say that the Attorney General Blumenthal at that time should have made these people pay this money back that they took fraudulently? Because they fraudulently took away these dollars, okay? And the question is, are they going to be made to pay this back, all right? I lost a lot. And I'm sorry for Gerald Wayne. I'm sorry for those folks that were involved in this cover-up, but shame on you. I lost my wife. My family's been scattered. I've been living with conditions that I should not have been living up under because of me, what, daring enough to want to blow the whistle about this injustice, huh? You say if you see something, say something. I said something, and I blew the whistle. I said, and I also said something. Why did I say that? To get your attention, to say to you, hey, today it's me, tomorrow could be you. Why should this stuff be allowed to happen to an American citizen, a taxpayer, a homeowner, someone who cares about people's rights being violated? I've been doing this all my life, and I'm saying I'm 75 years old, and to this day, I can't get anything put in the newspaper, all right, pertaining to this person because they're that powerful. And I'm saying to Mike Cohead, Gerald Wayne, I'm sorry, all right, if I offended you, but someone has to say something, all right? There's always a price to pay, and I paid a heavy price for this. And all I'm saying is that you know you're wrong. You know they unjustly terminated me. You've been on this board for, what, 20 years, 19 years, right? You and Albert Murphy been on this board for that many years. Y'all knew good and well, all right? But the procedures, and the procedure says that terminated employees have the right to continue their medical benefits. You knew that. Mike Cohead, look at your name up here with Gerald Wayne. You know the procedures, yet and still you got paid. You committed fraud. And I'm saying to the Attorney General Tongue, who claim he don't know what those documentations are, find them. I got documentation, and I'm going to send you what I have. And I want to see what you're going to do with that. Because if you ain't going to do nothing with it, I'm going to send it to the U.S. Attorney's Office and hope that they will. Someone has to do something. Someone has to say something. And I'm saying to you, shame on you. You have the city council, 2 minority city council persons saying, look into Cecil's termination to see if it was justifiable. You have George Cruz who said, look into his termination, Newton. Look into his termination, Anita. Here there's another 3 council persons saying, look into his allegations, see if it was justifiable. If you can sit and say and discuss the fact that we can discuss should immigrants have a right to stay in America, should those who are wearing masks, those ICE men that should not be wearing masks, if you could talk about what their rights and what other people's rights are being violated, what about me? Huh? In April the 8th, you wrote this letter to the city of Bridgeport, and I met with Chief Garnett, the mayor's chief aide, and he asked me, what did I want? I said I wanted my name back. I wanted my name cleared. I want my reparations. I want justice. I want what they took from me. And a lot you took from me, you can't get back. I can't get it back. But I want you to know that this will never have to happen to no one else, because dear good the grace of God could be you next. And that's why I say to you, it's not about black and white. It's about right and wrong. Okay? I'm not into using the N-word, but I used it that day just because I said to myself, if that's what it's going to take to get me to respond, to get them to respond, so I used it. And I used it. And what did it do? It cost me 3 years from not being able to speak in City Hall because I used the N-word, because I was saying I was tired of being treated like the N-word, and they took offense to that and barred me from speaking at City Hall. And I had the audacity to write the State Labor Board, to write the State of Connecticut Human Rights Commission, and they said I should have agreed with them and not use that word. Why not? They use that word every day on TV. They've been using that word on TV all throughout my growing up about the nigger word, calling them Negroes or them niggers. It ain't nothing new about using that word. It's how you use it. I didn't call them no niggers. I didn't call them no black men. I called them council persons. And I said to them as council persons, respond to my needs as a taxpayer. Respond to my needs as a homeowner. Joe Ganem, Ernest Newton, Anita, George Cruz, all of us had a second chance. Give me my chance. I never had a first chance. Give me my chance to prove my innocence. I tried to go to court. I couldn't get the court to respond to me the way that they should have. Instead, they threw my case out of court. And I say, why? Why would a judge throw my case out of court knowing that I paid this man $10,000 to get it to the appellate court? Why would the appellate court throw my case out of court? Why? Was it because of the politics? Is it because he was put there by politicians who he felt he owed a debt to? Because why else would he take me, Cecil Young, John Doe, who been working for the city for 27 and a half years, been a city sheriff for 16 years, been a community activist for 60 years, to be treated like a foreigner in my own town, in my own neighborhood, by people that look like you and me, and for them to halfway talk about they need to look into his allegations, yet and still, why haven't they been loud about, why haven't they been able to deal with what he asked them to do? Why? Because they're afraid of losing their standards with the mayor. I understand that, but I say shame on them. But I'm going to vote for them too, because they did at least write the letter and said in their letter that they wanted them to look into this allegation. And that's why I said, Mayor, it's on you, Joe Ganem. It's on you, Joe Ganem. You want your license back. You can't get your license back unless you can justify your actions. And I'm saying to you, I'm justifying my actions in saying to you, turn over the documents that Councilman Newton asked you to turn over. Comply to what Councilman Anita Martinez asked you to comply with. You talk about absentee ballots and illegal ethics matters and all the above, but what about me? What about my rights? I have a right to be respected. I have a right to be treated like an American citizen, as a taxpayer, as a homeowner, as someone who's always been on the front line helping those of them that needed help. I don't care what color they are, black, white, Puerto Rican, Jew, what have you. It's not about black and white. It's about right and wrong. And I'm saying to anybody out there that got a lawyer or a power or connection with a lawyer that's willing to take this case to a higher court, I'm willing to put my home up, put a second mortgage on my home, and I will pay you $10,000 to $15,000, $20,000, whatever it takes to get me a lawyer that ain't afraid to take on these folks, because believe me when I tell you, they are wrong. They unjustly terminated me. And I'm saying it's a shame that all these Democrats in this state won't one of them really take this matter and run with it. The only one who did in the beginning was the Assistant Attorney General Mitchell, who was able to get the state auditors to make a report. What did the state auditors find? Did they find that Albert Murphy, did they find that Gerald Weiner, did they find that Mike Cohen committed fraud? Did they violate my rights? What was their finding? They gave their report in 2010. Here it is, 2025, and we still don't know what they said. What did they say? It's evident that they did something wrong. It's evident they did something wrong, because when they audited my medical benefits and told them that they had to reinstate me and to reinstate my benefits all the above back, okay, that wasn't by accident. That was by design. They told them to do that because they had no business taking that from me. And that's why the question is, now that we found out that they committed fraud by having hearings unnecessary, they should be made to pay that money back. So I'm pleading with the Attorney General. I'm pleading with the governor to appoint just get rid of these people. Those folks should no longer be allowed to be on the boards of any commission in the state of Connecticut or any place else for that matter, for doing what they did to me. We John Doe public think that the labor board is designed to be fair and impartial, but instead they got in bed with the Pharaoh and his hero and took that blood money, and now they're hemorrhaging, and they're gonna hemorrhage. They're going to hemorrhage because God will make them pay for what they did to me, because as one of God's prophets trying to do the right thing, he will not let this go unnoticed. He will not let this go without somebody paying the price for what they did to me and my family. There is no justice denied to me that will not be passed on to you for what you did to me. So I say to you and to the people around this city and around this state and around this nation, go to YouTube, go to Soundview, help me get an attorney that I'm willing to put my house up to pay them whatever it takes to take this matter to court. We can win. We can beat them, but you can't beat them if you're a part of Connecticut system, because the Connecticut system is corrupt to a degree, and I'm saying to this degree, to what they did to me is a shame and a disgrace. I feel shameful. I feel pitiful. And all I'm saying is, the Councilman Newton, Councilman Anita, please speak out now. April 8th, you wrote this letter telling them to look into my allegations to see if my termination was justifiable or not. Well, you found out that they have not even complied to the degree that you asked them to. And when are they going to? They're not going to unless you say something, unless you get mad, unless you show your outrage over them disrespecting your intelligence. Certain Newton, you are the assistant majority leader of the council, okay? You have that kind of awesome power, okay? Anita, you likewise have been on the council for a number of years. Please help me, help you, help ourselves, so that we can continue to do what we've been doing for our people as much as I have for the last 65 years. I'm 75 years old, since 10 years. I've been 10 years old, I've been out there in the eye of the storm, helping our people help themselves. And I've been proud and honored of that, but I feel the pain. I've been in mourning times. I find myself weeping in my private little domain, pressing the depression, the ignoring of my issues that I bring to you in black and white and in audio, and to not respond to the issue. You don't know what it's doing to me. It's tearing me up on the inside. I'm hemorrhaging on the inside. Why? Because I should not be hemorrhaging on the inside, because of you ignoring the issues that you put before them and they're not responding to it. So I say, please say something. Get loud. Get mad. Get angry. Show them that you care about Cecil Young, who was out there doing what he had to do because God called him to do that. So please help me while I'm able to say thank you while I have a little bit left in my breath. Thank you for listening to the Cecil Young Show, and tune in to us again next week, for the best is still yet to come.